Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to finally get to the video on prepping for the rest of us. Just normal, average, everyday people. What are some basics when it comes to getting things ready? If there are things in your world, in our world, in your area and neck of the woods, things like electrical power outages, food supply chain issues, stuff like that. We're just going to cover several different things here about what I have done. And really, I just want to challenge the men here to be thinking through just some basics of stewardship and basics of provision. As men, God has built us to protect and provide. And as we're working through this Biblical Womanhood series right now, we're working through these 6 words. But that all came from thinking about biblical manhood over the years. And the 6 words that we've used to describe biblical manhood are worship, work, protect, provide, lead, and love. And so a part of being a man in all of life is being a provider and then just being a good steward of what God has given you. And so inside of our home right now, I have a wife and 3 children. And if the fertilizer issues that we've been facing and seeing the increases in prices and all the expectations of some of the things that could be coming down the line over the next couple of years, and we see the gas has just been going sky high, then what are just some basic things that we can do? And what I wanted to lay out for you is what we've done, and you can do this for under $3,000. And you think, well, okay, under $3,000. And really, if you want to do this, and if you've already got some of these secondary heat things in place and that kind of stuff, you can do this for a whole lot less. But what I've done, it costs about $3,000, and I'm going to run through this and show you the reasons why. And then what I've tried to do is keep this as basic as I can when it comes to cost. So I've bought a lot of used stuff, bought a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace, sold and traded things that I already have to get some of this stuff in line and in order. So what I want to do is just throw out a few things for you to think about, and then I'm sure I'm going to miss some stuff along the way, and you guys might say, hey man, you missed this, you missed that. Certainly that's the case. And for each person out there, depending upon what level of prepper you are, I mean, you've got food for a month or 6 months or 5 years or whatever it may be. You've got land and property to hunt and fish on, that kind of stuff, and really you're built to be self-sufficient. But this is the whole thing with this, is just to be able to provide some information for you for just some basics, and that's what we're going to go over here today. So number one, we're going to talk about alternative electricity or power. Let's just say the power grid goes down and you are out of electricity for a month or a week or whatever it may be. What are some things that you need in place? Number one, you need a generator. Okay, so what I've done, I have an electric generator that was a 3,500 watt generator, and the basics for me that I really need to be charged and powered are 2 refrigerators and a freezer. I've got a freezer full of meat, I've got an outdoor garage refrigerator, and then we've got our main refrigerator in our kitchen, and I need those things to be powered. And so what I did is I sold my electric generator that was a 3,500 watt generator and bought a 3,600 watt generator. But the reason I sold it is because my new one is a dual fuel generator. I can run on propane or on gasoline. And why that's so crucial for us is we've got a 250 gallon propane tank out back that we normally run just our gas fireplace in our living room, and then our oven stove range in our kitchen. And those 2 things will run about 200 to 250 gallons a year. And my goal is to refill those every summer, because in the summertime, your propane prices are way down compared to what they are in the wintertime. So if I needed to, I could hook this propane generator up and run it for a long, long time and have electric to all of those things. And then I just have the gasoline there that will run for 10 or 12 hours. And in most scenarios, when you're having a power outage, you're talking about 1 day, 2 days if there's a bad storm, maybe max. I think the electricity here in Southern Illinois has been knocked out. I think back in 2009, we had about 4 or 5 days without electricity. Well, I would be just fine with that generator, and I would be able to charge some, like cell phones, I'd be able to charge some lights in the house, and I'm working on being able to just hook that generator directly up to my electrical box in our house to be able to run that as secondary electricity. And so you need to get a generator. And the one I got, I was able to pick up on Amazon, and actually I picked it up for less than $500. And so if you can look, you can see a dual fuel generator, less than $500, and if you maintain it well, it will do a really good job. And so far, so good with that generator. I haven't really had to put that one to use like I had the last one, but I've got it if I need it. So I'm pretty happy that that's in place. Okay, so now we've got electricity. We got backup electricity. We have primary electricity, secondary electricity. Now let's talk about heat. Last year, I did the work to get a wood stove, and I picked up a used wood stove, a used hearth, used wood chimney pipe, which is very expensive. Anymore, the pipe is the most expensive piece to a to a wood stove. And I put my wood stove in the basement, so I had to go up through the main floor, the basement, main floor, and then through the roof. So I had quite a bit of pipe that I had to get, but I was able to get the used stove, and I have a buddy of mine that is actually the installer of wood stoves in this area. So I was able to talk to him, and for an unbelievably reasonable price, I was able to get a wood stove installed. Now, if you're buying a wood stove and you don't know, on the back of each wood stove that you can purchase, if you're going to get your house continue to be insured, then you need to make sure that your pipe and your wood stove is UL listed and tested and approved. You're going to have to show some pictures probably to your insurance person or agency or whatever. And my insurance actually didn't go up hardly at all with my wood stove because it was professionally installed and it was all UL listed. You don't want to get in the situation where you install a wood stove, it's not installed properly, and your house burns down and you lost your insurance because you don't have the proper, you didn't have the proper stuff in place with your wood stove. So you got to make sure that you have your wood stove in place. Now, you can get other kinds of heaters that you can run off your, if you're going to be pulling off your generator, then you're not going to be able to pull, you need to get a smaller unit for one room of your house or something like that to be able to plug into your generator. Because any of the kind of big stuff, unless you have a really big generator, you're not going to be able to run that heat. But the wood stove is perfect for us. We love it, and it heats our entire house. And so that is in place. We've got electricity, we've got heat. And the other thing I was thinking about, and this is what you've got to be thinking about, is water. So what we did last year is buy a Berkey water filtration system. Now, this is not a whole house water filtration system. This isn't something to replace the water that we wash our clothes with or something like that. I mean, we can do that by just getting some pond water or something like that if we had to. Or if our water lines were all busted or something like that and we just didn't have water at all, then what we can do is go down to the pond and get water, and this Berkey water system will filter your water, and we actually got the fluoride filters as well. So with our Berkey water filter, we've got backup water. We actually run that all the time anyways. It's gravity drain. You're draining that down through the water filters and then through the fluoride filters, and there's your water right there. And with those three things in place, we've got electricity, we've got heat, and we've got water. So that alone, you can spend a few $100s on the Berkey water filter system. You can get your heat, and then you can get your generator, and you can really, just with those three things, be pretty secure and at a fairly reasonable price, be pretty durable as a family. And men, just be thinking through this. If you go to Marketplace and shop enough, you can find really good deals and really take care of your family in that way. Okay, now, what everybody's been talking about, right? About gardening, homesteading, farming. We all love to do that. It seems like everybody on Gab anyways loves to do that. Now, we have about 2.5 acres where we're at, and we're hoping to buy some more property that's connected to our property. And over the years, we're just asking the Lord and praying about that, hoping that would open up for us and we'd be able to buy some more property. But we have plenty of property to garden. What we've done every year since we've been married now for 12 years is just garden in the backyard. Just do garden boxes in the backyard, and that's worked out really well for us. When we were first married, we lived in a trailer, 40-year-old trailer, for the first 7 years of marriage, and we did a garden every single year there. In fact, the 2 years that I lived there prior to us being married, I did a garden there as well, just by myself, just some tomatoes and stuff. But this year, we're going to expand our garden because, again, if costs go way up, we need to have some food on hand. We already have a freezers full of meat, which we'll get to here in a minute. But if you garden, and then if you learn to can, if you'll just do some study, in fact, we just need to do a video. We'll have Jordan do a video on here just about canning. It's really important to get your garden and get as much as you possibly can out of it by canning and not letting that go to waste, and then using it in any way that you can possibly use it over the next year until the next garden. So this year we're going to be doing peppers, we're going to be doing tomatoes, we're going to be doing corn, sweet corn, we're going to be doing beans, all sorts of stuff in our garden. We're going to be growing both in our backyard garden box and then in our field as well. If we can keep the deer away from our garden in the field, we're going to have an expanded and larger garden this year. And that again is going to make you durable because you're growing your own food. It's going to cost you some energy, like physical energy. It's going to cost you a little bit of money with the seeds and getting everything ready to go, especially if you're going to be building garden boxes. Right now, wood costs so much that just to build a garden box can cost you probably a couple $100s. But over the long haul, that will make you money back. So if you know how to garden and can, and you can do that from the smallest of garden to the biggest of garden if you'd like. I mean, put out an acre if you want, 2 acres. I mean, don't have to tell you guys, or just put out a small garden in the backyard. And you can get a pretty good yield just from a small garden if you do it the right way. So just watch some videos and figure out how to do that. Okay. Couple other things to be ready, to be a good steward, to prepare and provide. Get your pantry full of some bulk items. Now, I'm not talking about filling up a whole truckload and trailer load of food, but just look at your family size And I mean, that's your prerogative if you want to do that. We have some emergency food supplies on hand, and we've got our pantry as full as we can get it, and we've got some downstairs storage as well. But we also have our freezers full of, we get a quarter of a beef each year. We usually get a deer. I'm shooting deer. We've had bear in the freezer. We've been fishing like crazy, and if you've got access to a pond is a great way to get really good food and get some just Andy's, good old Andy's seasoning, and just have a great fish fry. And you can just fill your freezer full of fish. So every time when I'm discipling guys, one of the things that I'm doing as a pastor, you know, when I'm counseling somebody, I'm typically just talking with them over a cup of coffee or over a book or something like that. We're just, if it's a counseling situation, not over a book, we're just talking and hearing the situation. I'm hearing and praying and opening God's word, and we're doing some biblical counseling. If I'm discipling a man, well, then we're going through a book together and we're going down fishing, and I have 2 ponds really close to me that I can fish. And maybe you're in a situation where you don't have ponds around you. What you just do is look up public land, find a pond that's public, look at the season, if you have different seasons according to your state, and to find a way to go fishing. There's ponds everywhere. You can find ponds or lakes or rivers or oceans and go fishing, and you can just, in a real quick period of time, go on a Friday, take your kids, and just get a bunch of fish. Get your legal limit. And for me, this is down here just literally 300 yards away, and I can fish anytime that I want. And I've already got a freezer full. I've got 2 or 3 fish fries right in the freezer just from this year already, just from fishing 2 times. I filleted up probably, I don't know, 20 bass already this year. And I love bass. People are like, well, I don't know bass, but crappie are great, bluegill are great, bass are great. I can't tell the difference. You fry them up, they taste great. Fish is a great way to fill your freezer. So if you can, get your pantry full, get another room that you're using as your pantry full, and then get as much meat as you can get. And I know it's summertime, so it's going to be a lot of spring and summer is fishing. If you can get a turkey, you can get a turkey, but that's not really that's more for sport than it is for a lot of food. But then going into the fall, be thinking about, if you're not a hunter, be thinking about the pluses, the advantages of being a hunter, and plan your hunts. If you don't have yet your hunter safety course thing, do your hunter safety course, get you some guns. Maybe I do an episode on how to get into hunting or something like that on here to give you a little bit of a path forward to be able to get into just basics of hunting 101. How do I become a hunter? In fact, I'll do a video on that. And how can I become a fisherman? So we'll do like an outdoorsman video or something like that, where I'll just walk through some of the basics that I've done over the last couple of years. But if you can hunt and fish, then you're good. Also would be good is like fuel storage stuff. Make sure all your lawnmowers, your vehicles, keep them full on gas. Keep some gas cans around. So if you're running a gas generator, you've got plenty of gas. And then obviously, don't freak out about everything that's going on. We want to have joy and trust the Lord. In John, the Gospel of John, we are told that we are in the palm of our Heavenly Father's hand and in the palm of Jesus Christ, God the Son's hand. And no one, this is in John 10, no one can snatch us out of his hand. Nobody. Maybe that's John 6. Here I am in pastoral ministry. I just preached the Gospel of John. It's in John 6 or John 10. And we have this, when I preached the sermon, I called it double eternal security. And here's the deal. God has us. And we can trust him. We don't need to be in panic mode, but we do want to be wise, walk in Proverbs wisdom, and trust that God's got us and he's going to take care of us. And then, look at what you have. And if you need to sell some things that you already have, some assets that you have that you can sell in the marketplace, sell that and buy a generator. If you don't have the money, just go out and buy it. And all of this really is pretty simple and pretty accessible. And that's why I'm calling it prepping for the rest of us. And you can be prepared. If you have outages, food shortages, all that kind of stuff, you can be ready to face that with your family and do it laughing with a smile on your face and with joy. And you guys will be all right. Okay, I hope this was fun. Be on the lookout now as I'm doing this. I'm definitely going to be doing a hunting and fishing video here sometime soon. And if you guys have any ideas for videos that you'd like me to do, please let me know. Shoot a message out, leave a comment, do the upvote, share this. And if you've not yet subscribed, please do. And for here, about another week and a half or so, the giveaway for Stacked Supplements is going on. So please follow the link in the show notes and you can do that and sign up for that great giveaway. Okay, guys, thanks so much for watching. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.